Hi, this is Kevin Trainer. Welcome to my tutorial on installing Java on a new copy of Windows 10 64-bit. So I'm recording this in anticipation of the spring 2017 semester in my teaching. So I'm going to make this available to my students. And I hope that this is going to have a life of a year or more. So one of the things I want to remind you is the idea here is not to get the particular versions of things that I'm installing, but to get the latest version at the time. Okay, so the latest version of the operating system is the one that you see here. And when we get to Java, you'll see the latest version that's there, but you're always going to do pretty well with the latest version. Okay, so let's figure out how we're going to do this. Okay, so we are going to go down to the lower left-hand corner to this little windowy start icon, probably called the start icon still, I guess. And we come in and we see some things in this little start folder here, and then we have a table of contents. The things that we're looking for the command prompt. That's what we're going to run in order to see if Java is already installed. Now, in earlier versions of Windows, the command prompt tool was under accessories. Well, down under the W's, now it's under Windows System. Okay. And as you can see, the first thing is command prompt. And instead of just clicking on it, clicking on it and firing it up, I'm going to right click on it and say pin to start. And it's going to show up over here with these other start commands. So it's going to make it easy to find the command prompt. And I don't have to start this in any kind of tricky administrator mode or anything like that. So I can just left click on it. And here I am, I'm in the command prompt window. And the command, the Java command to check the version that's installed is you type Java, J-A-V-A, space, then the hyphen and version. And if it's installed, it's going to tell you what version's installed. And if it's not, it's going to not recognize the command. And it didn't recognize the command, just like I thought. Okay, so let's close this command prompt window. And let's go find a copy of Java and get it installed. So again, I'm going to go down to the Start button. And I'm going to start the Microsoft Edge browser, not because I'm a tremendously big fan, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to have that if you're using this product. And where do we want to go? Well, Java is owned by Oracle now, and the address, the domain that you can use is actually a subdomain, java.oracle.com will take you there. Now, whether that's the preferred way to get there, I don't know. And we have up here at the top of the page software downloads, top downloads. I happen to know that the version of Java that we want is Java SE. Okay, we don't want Java EE or FX or ME or any of those other things. We want Java SE, so let's click on that. Okay, and let's pull down this window a bit. Within this, what we want is we can either get the JDK, the Java Software Development Kit, the JRE, the runtime, and then there's a version for just the normal JRE and a server JRE. Well, we don't want either of those. We want the JDK. We can probably click on a link up here, like this one up here would probably get us what we want, but I'm just going to go down the long way. I'm going to pick, I want to download a JDK. And I come to another page and I get a bunch of them that I could do, but the top one is typically the most recent one. And so this is Java SE Development Kit. We may not need the full development kit, which includes the Java compiler and a lot of other things to do what we have to do in our class, but it's always good to have it. And what you do is you find the version of the operating system that you have, and you click on that one. And the very last one is Windows 64-bit. But before we do that, we need to click on the radio button above for Accept License Agreement, or we're going to be right back there. So click Accept License Agreement, go down, find the download for Windows x64, click on that. And I'm just going to say save. And it takes a little while to run. It's not too bad. It's got a decent size. And it's just long enough that I don't want to pause the video, but a little too long to have too much to say while it's going on. Just about there. Okay, so I'm going to click the button for Open Folder. Okay, and typically what I've done in the past when installing software in Windows would be just to find the executable file that I downloaded and double click on it. The problem is that in more recent versions of Windows, they typically want you to install software as an administrator, and simply double clicking doesn't always get that job done depending upon the permissions you have as a user. So I'm going to instead highlight that line that has the download, right click, and I'm going to pick Run as Administrator. So that's going to make sure that I get this properly installed. Okay, and it's going to ask me, do I want the app to make changes to my device? Yes, I do. And now we're going to go through the dialog for the installation. For the most part, I believe I take the defaults. So certainly in the first screen, next. On the second screen here, next. And now it's just zipping right along. Looking good. And it says it wants to install it under C program files. That looks good to me. Click next. And now it's going to run a Java add or two while it's really doing the install. And again, on this machine, it takes just long enough to do that I don't want to pause the video, but not long enough that I've got a whole lot to say. I mean, too long that I have enough to say. Okay, so here we are, successfully installed. That looks good. That's a good sign. So I'm going to close that. I'm also going to close this, well, what we used to call the File Explorer. I don't know what we call it now. I'm going to close the browser. Okay. And now I'm just going to confirm that it really installed by opening up another command prompt and typing in what I typed in before. So I'm going to go down to that start icon, come over here where I saved the icon to start command prompt. That comes up pretty well, and I'm going to type in Java space -version. And there it is. That's the version I just installed, Java version 1.8.0, build 111. It looks like just what we want. And that's a success. So, we're all done. I'm going to leave you to whatever you have to do next and say bye until next time. Bye-bye.